Have you ever heard someone say that something is just in their head? We all have an imagination, but only a few can control it. Imagination is a powerful tool that can be both a blessing and a curse. When used properly, it can help us achieve our goals and dreams. But when abused, it can lead to negative thoughts and emotions that can hold us back. Every day we encounter people who are lost in their own thoughts, talking to themselves, and imagining scenarios that may or may not happen. They are living in a world of their own creation, which can be both beautiful and terrifying. Our lives are influenced by the world we imagine, not just the real events that happen around us. The exact and literal-minded individuals are the ones who inhabit made-up worlds. They are unable to see beyond what is in front of them and are limited by their lack of imagination. On the other hand, those who can conjure up any image at will are the least susceptible to whimsy because of the power of their imagination. Imagination is not just a source of entertainment or a way to pass the time. It is a crucial component of human development. Throughout history, imagination has been used to make the impossible possible, to create new inventions, and to find new solutions to old problems. However, imagination and belief can sometimes clash, leading to unpredictable outcomes. The secret to any successful operation is imagination. It is the sole instrument required to achieve a goal. William Butler Yeats warned in his book, Ideas of Good and Evil, that we should never be positive that the subtle shift in men's thinking did not begin with some woman working at a line press. The loner or imprisoned can act through many men and talk through many voices by using their imagination and feelings to their fullest potential. Let me share a story about one of my closest friends. She worked as a costume designer for the music hall in New York City, and one day she confided in me about her troubles with a producer who was consistently nasty to her and seemed intentionally harsh when critiquing and rejecting her best work. I advised her that men can only repeat to us what we have said to them privately, and I reminded her of this fact. She and the producer undoubtedly had private conflicts behind closed doors. She admitted that she would imagine him complimenting her on her amazing works and thanking her for being so sweet and complimentary. In response to my advice, she made up a scene in which the producer appreciated her work, and she thanked him as she walked to the theater. The producer's behavior abruptly changed, and he quickly established himself as the most approachable professional employer she had ever had. She did this every morning, and in a very short time, she came to the conclusion that her mood affected her environment. Her own fantasy, which she controlled by the power of imagination, dictated to him the discussion they eventually had as she pretended to be walking along. We can all learn from her experience and commit to regularly working on controlling and disciplining our imagination. Imagination can transform our conflicts into harmony. It can help us recognize how our friends are already expressing their aspirations. We should acknowledge that whatever attitude someone has toward us, they also have about themselves. We can mentally call our friends to establish a connection. We should keep our eyes on them and mentally call their name, just as we would if we met them on the street. Imagine them responding as we imagine them speaking to us. Imagine them telling us about the incredible favor we asked for. We can speak with them and tell them how happy we are to see them succeed. The power of imagination is something that we often underestimate. We tend to think of it as something that only children possess, but in reality, it is one of the most powerful tools we have for shaping our lives and the world around us. As the saying goes, what you can conceive and believe, you can achieve. This is the power of imagination in action. But the key to harnessing this power is to control it. If we allow our imaginations to run wild, we can easily become overwhelmed by fear, doubt, and negativity. We must learn to discipline our thoughts and feelings and focus on the positive, lovely, and wonderful things in life. This is the only way to truly transform the world around us. So how do we do this? It starts with understanding that we are creatures of habit. Our habits have the power to compel us in ways that no other force can. If we want to change our lives and the world around us, we must start by changing our habits. This means being disciplined in our thoughts and feelings and focusing on the positive. But this is easier said than done. We live in a world that is full of negativity, fear, and doubt. It can be hard to stay positive and focused on the good when there is so much bad around us. This is where imaginative love comes in. Imaginative love is the key to transforming the world. It is the power that makes the invisible visible and the impossible possible. It is the force that can turn deserts into gardens and transform sadness into joy. Through imaginative love, we can create the world we want to live in. But this requires discipline. We must learn to control our thoughts and feelings and focus on the positive. We must learn to cultivate love and compassion in our hearts and minds. We must learn to be the change we want to see in the world. This is not an easy task, but it is a necessary one. If we want to live in a world that is full of love and compassion, we must start by cultivating these qualities within ourselves. We must learn to control our thoughts and feelings and focus on the good. We must learn to be the change we want to see in the world. So start today. Practice discipline in your thoughts and feelings. Focus on the positive and cultivate love and compassion in your heart. Be the change you want to see in the world. And watch as the world around you transforms into a place of love and beauty. Living life as if there were a limitless power attending to us may seem like a far-fetched idea, but it can be a wonderful experiment that can transform our lives. By talking, thinking, and acting as though our every act were directed and guided into expressions of peace, health, happiness, and harmony, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities. To truly understand the power of this promise, we must first obey the law and learn how to make conscious use of it. An old adage tells us that with all thy getting, get understanding, and this has never been more true. Throughout time, it has been the teaching that man reproduces the divine nature, and if he does, we can expect to find in his nature the same qualities that we suppose must be in the nature of life itself. A study of the psychological nature of man verifies the belief in the Trinity running through all life. Man is self-conscious. Of this we are sure, for he can say, I am. This fact alone proves his claim to immortality and greatness. In psychology, we learn that man is threefold in his nature. He has a self-conscious mind, a subconscious mind, and a body. In metaphysics, we learn that the three are but different attributes of the same life. Man's self-conscious mind is the power with which he knows. It is therefore one with the Spirit of God. It is indeed his only guarantee of conscious being. It is from this self-knowing mind that man is able to realize his relationship with the whole. For without it, he would be unhuman and most certainly not divine. But since he has it, he must be divine. Man's self-knowing mind is the instrument which perceives reality and cognizes or realizes truth. All illumination, inspiration, and realization must come through the self-knowing mind in order to manifest in man. Vision, intuition, and revelation proclaim themselves through man's self-knowing mind. And the saints and sages, the saviors and Christs, the prophets and seers, the wise and learned, have all consciously perceived and proclaimed this fact. The self-knowing mind of man proclaims itself in every thought, deed, or act, and is truly the only guarantee of his individuality. In the subjective mind of man, we find a law obeying his word, the servant of his spirit. Suggestion has proved that the subconscious mind acts upon our thought without question or doubt. It is the mental law of our being and the creative factor within us. Our ability to access and utilize the greater subjective mind, which serves as the foundation for all law and action and is the servant of the eternal spirit, is a distinctly personal endeavor. Despite the magnitude of this concept, it is true that human beings possess within their subjective minds a seemingly boundless power. This is due to the fact that, subjectively, we are united with the entirety of existence. When our thoughts are absorbed by our subjective mind, they meld with the universal subjective mind and manifest as the law of our lives, in accordance with the one great law of all life. Each person retains their unique identity within the law through their personal application of it, and each individual receives from life that which they think into it. Enjoy manifesting. Enjoy manifesting.